Okay, let's jump right into it. Pedro Almodóvar's film, Volver, might just look like a colorful, quirky story about a family of women, a ghost, and, well, a hidden crime. But if you know what you're looking at, it is absolutely so much more than that. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking how this cinematic masterpiece actually reveals the deep, lingering historical scars of post-war Francoist Spain. To guide our journey, our source material gives us this really incredible analytical roadmap. We're not just going to hang out at the base camp of basic storytelling here. No way. We're ascending right to the summit to uncover some deeply profound historical and social meaning. Here is our map for today's ascent. First, the analytical roadmap. Second, the culture of silence. Third, female solidarity and healing. Fourth, the geography of trauma. And finally, tradition versus modern Spain. Let's start at the very beginning with Section 1, the analytical roadmap, moving from surface to subtext. To truly grasp the depth of this film, the source outlines 4 distinct steps for us. Step 1 is base camp, basically getting our analytical tools ready. But step 2, the ascent, well, that's where the real work begins. We have to move past the simple what of the story to ask why. Like, why did Almodóvar make these specific choices? Then, step 3 is the viewpoint, where we connect these characters to broader social and historical contexts. And finally, the summit. That's mastering the material by synthesizing everything we've found into a clear, unified understanding of the film's deeper themes. So, the crucial golden rule for all of this: interpret. Don't just summarize. We aren't here just to recount the story of Raimunda and Irene today. We're here to decode its historical DNA. We are actively looking for that subtext hiding right there in plain sight. Which brings us to Section 2, the culture of silence and hiding the truth. This centers on the cultura del silencio, or the culture of silence. You see this deeply affecting the lives of our main characters, Irene and her daughter Raimunda. I mean, they actively hide some truly horrific, traumatic truths. We're talking incest, or literally stashing a murdered body in a restaurant freezer, all to protect themselves and maintain social appearances. But as our sources reveal, this is way more than just a convenient plot device for a thriller. It actually brilliantly illustrates a direct, inferred link to Spanish history. The character's silence perfectly mirrors the actual repression of the post-war Francoist era. Think about it. During that time, staying quiet wasn't just about avoiding some neighborhood gossip. It was a literal survival strategy against authoritarianism. Families had to hide their political pasts, their traumas, and their grief just to survive against severe state judgment and control. So the silence in this family's home, it's really a microcosm of the silence enforced across an entire nation. Moving on to Section 3, female solidarity and healing, the antidote to trauma. We've got a stark historical contrast at play here. During the Francoist era, the patriarchal state systematically relegated women to a total lack of autonomy. It stripped away legal rights and created a massive, glaring institutional void. The state provided absolutely zero safety net. So what is the film's response to this? Female solidarity. Because the institutions entirely failed them, women stepped in for each other. We see these incredible informal networks of mutual support, neighbors sharing food, helping each other find work, and yes, even helping to hide those really dark secrets. This solidarity represents a powerful collective form of resistance and survival. And the source explicitly highlights the kitchen as the literal motor of healing for all of this. It's not just a room where people cook their meals. It's a physical, almost sacred space where this vital solidarity completely replaces that absent institutional support. It is the very heart of women's strength and rebirth in the face of some pretty immense adversity. Let's shift gears to Section 4, geography of trauma and the historical baggage of place. It turns out the physical world in the film is defined by 2 massive, sweeping geographic forces. First, the éxodo rural, that's the rural to urban migration from La Mancha to Vallecas. And second, the viento solano, a relentless, maddening regional wind. Both of these elements tell a story way bigger than the characters themselves. Let's look at the éxodo rural first. The struggle of these women to survive in the working-class Madrid neighborhood of Vallecas isn't just a simple character arc. Our source directly links this tension between rural roots and urban poverty to the late Francoist economic miracle. You see, this period forced millions of peasants to totally abandon their rural homes and move to the cities due to a complete lack of opportunity. The tension you're seeing on screen, that is the very real tension of a displaced generation. Then there is the viento solano. Get this, in real life, this wind is actually blamed for driving up the crime rate in La Mancha. In the film, it's this fiery, chaotic wind that literally drives characters to madness and sets the whole plot in motion. Analytically, our sources suggest this persistent wind represents the violent resurfacing of traumas that were long buried during the dictatorship. It's essentially the past refusing to stay quiet, whipping right through the present and demanding to be acknowledged. And for our final ascent, Section 5, Tradition versus Modern Spain, Viewing Spain in Transition. Throughout the film, we see this really deep-rooted folklore. Community wakes held right in the living room, the incredibly meticulous cleaning of graves in the cemetery, the total normalization of integrating the supernatural into daily life. This isn't just Almodóvar trying to give the movie a spooky, magical, realist atmosphere. According to our sources, this represents a profound cultural need to dignify the memory of those lost. After decades of forced institutional forgetting under the regime, caring for the past becomes a vital way of reclaiming history. And this sets up such a striking contradiction. On one hand, you have modernity, rapid post-1975 globalization, massive wind turbines, and technological progress. But juxtaposed directly against that, you have classic folklore, timeless Don Quixote landscapes, conservative family values, and slow-changing morals. It paints this vivid picture of a rapidly modernizing nation that's embracing technology, yet is completely unable to shake off the ghosts, the moral structures, and the unresolved pain of its own past. As we reach the summit of our analysis, it's clear that Volver is a masterclass in using personal stories to reflect national trauma, the power of solidarity, and the struggle between moving forward and looking back. So, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought from our explainer today. When you look at those modern wind turbines spinning against the backdrop of mystical, ancient traditions, how does that juxtaposition reflect the unresolved tensions in Spain's ongoing transition today? Or, better yet, how much of our modern progress is still built directly on top of these silent, unspoken ghosts of history?